Welcome to the Dental Marketing Heroes podcast, your ultimate resource for mastering the art and science of dental marketing. In each episode, we explore the latest strategies, insights, and success stories to help elevate your dental practice to new heights. And now, here is your host, the President and Chief Marketing Strategist at Outsourced Marketing and Dental Marketing Heroes, Ian Cantle.
Hello, everyone. I am Ian Cantle from Dental Marketing Heroes, and I'm excited to welcome you to today's webinar titled, Does Your Dental Marketing Suck? How to Know If Your Dental Marketing is Working or Not. In this webinar, we're going to dive deep into understanding how your marketing efforts might be impacting the growth and profitability of your dental practice today. We'll discuss the importance of effective marketing, how to recognize failing strategies, and the steps you need to take to audit and improve your marketing for your dental practice. Knowing if your current marketing is working or not is one of the biggest challenges that dentists have today. And I hear it all the time when I'm talking to dentists. Whether you have an internal team working on your marketing, hired marketing vendors, multiple marketing vendors to perform each area of your marketing, or even if you've engaged the help of a marketing agency to do it all, how do you know if it's working? How do you know what's working, what's not working, and where to put your marketing investment to get the most bang for your buck? So if you're a dentist and you're concerned that your marketing investment isn't seeing the return on investment you were hoping for, then this is where you need to be today. So let's get started. Here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the importance of effective marketing. We're going to look at the signs your marketing may be failing. We're going to look at key metrics to track, because if you don't measure it, if you don't track it, how are you going to know if it's working or not? We're going to talk about conducting a marketing audit, what that looks like, what's involved in it, who should do it. We're going to talk about common marketing mistakes. That's a really important topic. I think you're going to like it. We're going to talk about best practices for effective marketing. We're going to talk about tools and resources that we use as a dental marketing agency that you might find valuable as well. I'm going to share a case study of some successful marketing that I think you'll find really valuable. And then we'll talk about conclusions from this and next steps to help you. Effective marketing is the backbone of any successful dental practice. It directly impacts your practice's growth and profitability. And without a strong marketing strategy and a plan, you might struggle to attract new patients, retain existing ones, and maintain a positive online presence for your practice. And on the flip side, poor marketing can lead to wasted resources, low patient acquisition, and even damage your practice's reputation. And most importantly, there is a massive opportunity cost to you, meaning every day that your marketing is performing poorly, you're actually helping your competition get more new patients instead of your practice. And we don't want that for you. So this is why regular marketing audits are crucial. They help you identify what's working, what isn't working, so you can make informed decisions moving forward on your marketing. Now, the growth of your practice and the speed at which you reach your goals are tied to the effectiveness of your marketing. So what is effective marketing? A lot of people confuse marketing with activity. Hey, we're doing a lot of marketing activities. We're posting on social media. We're doing different things. But that's absolutely true that you do need to do the marketing activities, but you rarely want to measure just the activity basis alone. It's saying, hey, I'm training to run a marathon, and I'm only tracking my activity that I'm running a certain amount of distance, but you're not actually tracking your time. You're not tracking other metrics that might help you be a better runner. And then when you get to the Olympics, you're not going to win because you haven't been tracking those things. You haven't been measuring the right things. So instead, you want to measure it by its effectiveness of achieving your goals. A lot of people even get focused on the micro rather than stepping back and looking at the big picture. And for most dentists, that will mean key calls to actions like phone calls and form submissions, appointments set that result in new patients coming into your clinic. So what are some signs that your marketing may be failing? How do you know if your marketing efforts are failing? There's several signs to look out for. First, if you're seeing low patient acquisition despite your marketing efforts, that's a huge red flag. Now, don't get me wrong, some marketing strategies take a while to get going, but others you should see immediate impact. Poor patient retention is another indicator. And this isn't really an indicator of bad marketing necessarily, although it can be because your marketing can affect retention, but it could be showing an operational issue. If patients are not returning for follow-ups or additional treatments, something might be off. A negative online presence, such as bad reviews or low engagement on your social media, or people coming to your website and bouncing off immediately, consistently, can also signal that your marketing isn't resonating with your ideal patients that you're trying to attract. And lastly, ineffective campaigns that don't yield the expected return on investment, the ROI, are clear indicators that your marketing strategy needs some rework. And this leads naturally into a discussion about metrics. What metrics as a dental practice should we be tracking? To understand whether your marketing is working or not, it's essential to track key metrics. Start with your website traffic and analytics. Monitor how many visitors you're getting, where they're coming from, and what pages they're visiting. Conversion rates are another critical metric. This tells you how many visitors are taking the desired action, such as booking an appointment. And patient retention rates indicate how well you're keeping your patients engaged and satisfied. Lastly, calculate the ROI on your marketing spend to see if your investments are paying off. Tracking these metrics will provide a clear picture of your marketing performance. And to highlight a few, you'll see on this page that I would say those top 3 that are above the line are the key ones. You want to know how many new patients you've attracted each month and year over year. And we'll talk more about these metrics in a minute. Monthly revenue, month over month, year over year. And the reason why we want to track month over month and year over year is we want to know how are things trending monthly, but then also understanding that there is seasonality in dentistry. Some months are stronger than other months traditionally. We want to compare April of this year versus April of that year. And that will show us lift without seasonality causing impact. And then we want to really dig into what's the return on marketing investment, the ROMI. Because ultimately, whatever you invest in marketing, it's not overhead, it's an investment. If you invest it well, you should get a great return on investment as a huge multiplier. And then the beauty of that is that you can reinvest some of that growth, some of that revenue that you've earned from your marketing efforts back into more marketing efforts and continue this upward swing. Some other metrics that you want to make sure you're tracking, and these are more leading metrics. You want patient retention and repeat visit rates. You want to look at cost per acquisition and lifetime value of a patient. So how much is a new patient actually worth to you? When you land one patient, do you on average land multiples? Meaning you land one family member, you land 3 more maybe. What's your average? What's your cost per acquisition? How much does it cost you to land one of these clients? The reason these metrics are so vital is because they help you determine what is a good level of marketing budget to spend. Because if the lifetime value of a patient is $7,000, $10,000, maybe $20,000, whatever your practice is, because every practice is slightly different depending on your mix of services and your geographical location and your clientele. But you want to be able to determine what the value of a new patient is, so that can help guide you on how much each new patient is worth spending on to acquire. You want to look at the website traffic and user behavior analytics. You want to look at conversion rates for various calls to action on various platforms. We already covered return on marketing spend. You want to look at social media engagement metrics. You want to look at email open and click-through rates. You want to look at lead generation and conversion metrics. Those are just a few of the top ones that I think every dentist should be looking at. And those are leading metrics that lead into those top three that we already covered at the top of the page. But now, if you really want to look at what you should be measuring and tracking at a deeper level to guide your decision making, there's other metrics and there's other metrics that help guide decision making. So let's level up here a little bit. As you can see, things start to get pretty deep here. For most dentists, you don't need to go this deep but as the dental marketing agency that you'll partner with, they should be looking at all these metrics. For those that do manage their own marketing in-house, let's look a little bit at these. We won't go super deep, but we'll cover these just so that you get an idea of these leading metrics that are really important. And the reason why they're really important is that each of the different areas that we cover in here are pillar areas or strategies of marketing that every single dental practice should be doing. And thereby you need to measure results so that you can improve on them. This is by no means an exhaustive list. And the rule of thumb is that unless you're simply doing a marketing activity for exposure or branding purposes, which most dentists don't really do, they want their activities to drive results, but you may do some of those. But those branding and exposure activities are inherently difficult to measure, but everything else should be measured. In fact, if you can't measure it, you should really do a gut check to see if it's worthwhile doing at all. Because anything that can't be measured can't be improved, according to Peter Drucker. Down the left-hand column, you'll see strategy or strategic. We want to know monthly revenue and year-over-year revenue. We want to know monthly new patients and year-over-year new patient numbers for that same month. We want to look at new patient acquisition costs, and we want to look at the overall return on marketing investment, like we already talked about. On the website side, we want to see visitors. We want to track the number of visitors. Is it growing? Is it shrinking? Is it seasonally? Is it growing? What about engagement? Are people spending more time on our websites? Are they going to more pages? Are they engaging more? And then website phone calls and form fills. And these are the key calls to actions for most dentists. You want people to book appointments. And the way they book those appointments is either through an actual widget on your website that allows them to book a specific time and date, or you want them to fill in a form so that you guys can follow up with them, or you want them to pick up the phone and call you, right? Those are the key ways. Of course, you can also have online chat and some other forms like that. And those work as well. But you want to be tracking those. Are we getting more phone calls and form fills than we were previously? SEO, search engine optimization. The reason we have this next is that if SEO activities and strategies are working properly, this will become one of your highest performing areas of marketing. It's like planting a tree, feeding it, watering it, giving it sun, helping it grow, investing in that tree because you know that fruit is going to grow from it. And if you invest in it properly, that fruit will continue to grow even more every single year. What about calls and form fills from organic lead attribution? So are those actual activities, those high level calls to actions, are they actually coming through SEO efforts? You want to be able to track that. Lead attribution is so important, and you'll see it in every single column pretty much. SEO optimization level. Is your SEO getting better or worse? And then overall competitive organic visibility, and then organic rankings. Are we improving our visibility online, or is it diminishing? Are our rankings moving up positions to the top, or are they diminishing? Return on marketing investment organic is really important. And being able to drill down into those areas is very valuable because it helps give you greater insights to guide decision-making. Should we put more money towards SEO efforts? If it's giving you a great return on investment, absolutely. Now let's look at the ads column. In ads, we have ad lead attribution for calls and form fills. Again, you want to be able to attribute your leads, your actual new patient inquiries, back to the strategies that are bringing them in. If you can't do that, how are you going to know where to invest more or less? Ad conversions. Conversions can be very confusing to people because every single platform talks about conversions slightly differently and tracks conversions slightly differently. But as an advertiser on, say, Google Ads, you need to understand what conversions mean, what actual criteria is going into tracking a conversion, and then are those conversions growing or shrinking? Ad costs per conversion. Ultimately, you want more conversions and you want your cost per conversion to go down. That means you can get even more out of your ad spend, which is fantastic. And then you want to know your cost per click. Is it costing us less to get a click than it was previously? Now, since COVID, there's been all sorts of growth in the cost of Google Ads and other ad platforms because there's greater competition. So there's always outside factors, but it's important to know what's actually leading to increased call per click if it does go up. And then competitive metrics and monitoring. How are we doing compared to our competitors? Who are the biggest ad competitors in our area? And some of the platforms like Google Ads allow you to dig into that a little bit. It doesn't give you tons of information, but it does give you some information. And then as an agency, if you have the right tools, and yes, as a practice, you can invest in these as well, but tools can get very expensive. And we'll cover some of our favorite tools later on. But if you have the right tools, you can actually dig into what ads are my competitors spending money on. And sometimes you can see a little bit of data related to it. And then you want to know what the return on marketing investment paid ads is. So you can determine whether to spend more money there. Social media. This is one of the brightest, shiniest objects that dentists chase after. Don't get me wrong. Social media is important. It's part of a holistic approach to marketing, but you need to track lead attribution for social media. Are any leads coming from your social media efforts, or is it simply an exposure and engagement play? Because a lot of times when you actually look at the data, it's far more than actual leads coming in. But if you don't track it, you don't know, right? So you want to know the number of engagements you have month over month and year over year. You want to see, are we outposting our competition? Are we falling behind in the number of posts we're doing? Because activity does actually play a very large part in being seen on social media, especially as a business. You as a business are at a disadvantage compared to a consumer when you post things because of the way the algorithms work. So a lot of times you might even need to invest in ads in order to get more exposure. And then you want to know what your follower growth is. Are we getting more followers? Are we losing followers? This is really indicative of how healthy your social media is. And then if you can track the leads coming from social media that are actually turning into business, you can then determine what your return on marketing investment for social media is. Reputation. This is so important. It's so important because, first of all, it's social proof. People look at reviews all the time. The statistics bear this out. If you're not getting more reviews, if your review overall ranking score isn't high, doesn't mean it needs to be 5 out of 5, but if it's not like a 4.7 or 8 or 9, you're at a disadvantage to your competition. So look at your overall rankings everywhere. And by everywhere, you need to be on Google, and those need to be very prominent, and you need to be generating those. And then also on other platforms, you want to generate reviews on those as well. And then you want to look at your overall review ranking on Google. I mentioned that already, but that's so important. And I reemphasize it because Google is where a lot of clients will come from. Review velocity. You want to keep a steady stream of reviews coming in. You don't want there to be these long pauses in reviews. You want to keep good reviews. Great patience, leaving good reviews will help you tremendously. And then from an SEO standpoint, this is tremendously powerful because it is a ranking factor for sure. One of the other things you need to do is you need to respond to reviews. It may seem like a tedious administrative task, and this is why we do it for our clients. Because you need to respond. Google actually looks at the responsiveness of businesses, and it's just polite to respond because reviews aren't always positive, or it could be a positive with a little negative wrapped in there. And you want to respond to those really well because it actually leaves a positive or negative experience for the next person that looks at that review, which statistically they will. And then you want to make sure that you're optimizing your platform consistently. You want to make sure that you're actually looking at your review funnel system, as we call it, to make sure that you're streamlining that process and making it super easy for your patients to leave reviews. They want to, they just forget about it after they leave the practice. And the statistics bear that out. You want to look at the next column, which is directory citations and Google Business Profile. Google Business Profile is your direct signal to Google about your business, and you need to optimize that sucker to the max. And one way to determine how you're performing from a metric standpoint in Google Business Profile is it actually gives you metrics and insights right in the platform. So you want to be looking at those. You also want to look at local rank maps versus your competition. So there is some incredible map reports now. Again, the tools that do these things are usually expensive, but we do these for our clients because we want to know you're always strongest at your pinpoint on the map where your actual location is. And then it radiates out. And depending on where your competition is on the map, you'll find that they're strongest where their pinpoint on the map is, and likewise. But if you have the right strategies in place, you can start to take over a lot of area. And that's super powerful from a Google Maps search standpoint, from a local search standpoint. So you really want a way of tracking and reporting on that against your competition. And then directory citations, health, and trending. Directory citations are just another signal to Google that you're a legitimate practice, that your information is correct, that they have your information correct. And so it's really important to keep your citations, your directory citations, first of all, expanding, that you're on a lot of citations, and then, or on directories, and that they are growing and that they match your Google Business Profile. You also want to look on the next column, which is email and SMS marketing. This used to be just an email column, but of course, with SMS marketing, these go really hand in hand. And if you're not doing both of these, you're missing opportunities for sure. Email marketing is one of the highest performing return on investment activities that you as a business can possibly do. A lot of dentists shirk away from dental email marketing because of their own bias against it, right? You don't like getting all the emails. Your inbox keeps getting filled up. You hate spam, right? But remember, you value emails that are from trusted people that send you valuable information. And that's what you are. Your patients view you as an expert, an invited guest, not a pest, right? And so you want to be tracking, first of all, you want to be using email, but you want to be sending it out very strategically. And then SMS marketing, which is texting, you want to leverage that because it's got one of the highest response rates of any form of communication right now. So things that you want to track under this column are email and text appointment attribution and reactivations. Email is fantastic for reactivation, and it's one of those hidden, untapped strategies that a lot of practices don't do, and you need to be doing that. You want to look at clicks. How many people are clicking on your emails each time you send one out? How many opens? And this is a little bit wonky sometimes because a lot of the email platforms now preview emails without you actually clicking on them. So sometimes the open rates are low, but that's okay. You're looking at this data over time and you're looking for trending information. You want to look at deliverability. Are emails actually getting to the people we're sending emails to? Or are they going to the spam folder? Or are they getting blocked? Or are they bouncing? This is really important information because you need to understand, is this activity actually working? And then you need to update your list of new patients all the time. If you're working with an agency or somebody external to your team, or even internally to your team, if they're using a separate system to do your email and SMS marketing, which a lot of times you have to because most practice management softwares do not do a very good job of this, unfortunately. And so you need to go to a marketing automation tool that can do multi-channel marketing really powerfully. So you need to keep that list updated. You don't want there to be gaps in it. You don't want new patients not to be receiving your monthly e-newsletters. And then you need to create regular content, review it versus the metrics. So are we getting better open rates? Are our subject lines grabbing people's attention? Are they clicking on it more because we're giving really valuable information? But those are just the key areas. As you can see, when you start to look at the different strategies you're going to be employing, the different tools, the different channels, there's an awful lot of metrics here. And so for most dental practices, this becomes really overwhelming, or you just don't do it. So if you measure and optimize against these key metrics from strategy to implementation of your marketing efforts, you will be ahead of 99%. And that's just an Ian stat. That's just off the top of my head from observing dentists in the marketplace, but it's a high percentage. You're going to be ahead of 99% of all other dentists and will know what your marketing dollars are being spent on most strategically. The next thing that's really important is to conduct a marketing audit, because you need to benchmark your results. And I strongly recommend hiring a third-party expert to perform this marketing audit. First of all, they will not only have the expertise and tools to perform a thorough marketing audit, they will also be able to provide insights and recommendations that a layperson simply couldn't provide. Conducting a marketing audit is a systematic way to evaluate your current marketing strategies and their marketing effectiveness. You start by gathering all your marketing materials, including your website, your social media profiles, your ad campaigns, you name it, even offline things like your sales and marketing materials. And then you use tools like Google Analytics to dive deep into your website's performance. You analyze your social media engagement and you look at the feedback you've received. You assess the ROI of your current and past campaigns to identify which ones performed well and which ones didn't. This comprehensive audit will give you the insights you need to make data-driven decisions and improve your marketing strategy. But if you want to DIY this, if you want to do it yourself, here are some of the things you should be sure to include. And I'm just going to rifle through this list, but do you have under strategy? Do you have a marketing plan? Do you have your goals defined for your practice, but also how they link to your marketing? What are your marketing goals? Have you really drilled down and defined your ideal patient? This is really important because yes, anybody with teeth could be a patient, but which are the patients you really want? Which are the services you love performing, the treatments you love performing? Who are the types of people that you and your staff love to serve? What's your unique core message? If you sound vanilla, like all of the other dentists, how will people know to choose you versus them? You need to define your core message, your unique core message. You need core strategies defined. Which marketing strategies are we going to employ to reach those goals? Currently, what's working and what's not. Do some client interviews, patient interviews. Find out the voice of the patient. What do they say about you? And you might be surprised. And this is why a third party doing this is really valuable, because people will often tell a third party information and how they're truly feeling and what their experiences are versus telling somebody from the dental practice. And then define who are your top competitors. And it's not just the ones you define. The person doing the audit will probably uncover competitors you didn't even realize were top competitors online. And then under the website section, does your website look contemporary? Does it look up to date? Or does it look 10 years old? Do you define your unique core difference? Is it very clear above the fold, above the scroll? Do you have always available calls to actions? Do you have a secondary call to action? So if somebody's not ready to choose you as a dentist yet, do you have some sort of checklist or a guide in how to choose a dentist? Or do you provide some other valuable information that they might give their name and their email address just to get? Is your website fast? What's the speed of it? Does it have technology issues that are causing it to be red flagged by Google? Do you clearly define pain points that most patients have, and do you offer solutions for those? What's the depth of the content and the freshness of the content on your website? Is it 8 years old and you've never updated it? That's not going to rank well. And then competitive analysis and benchmark is very valuable. Then under the SEO section, what are your current rankings? What are the SEO elements on your website, on site, that are working and not working? What about off-site elements of SEO? Because there are off-site elements for sure. And then content richness for your SEO. Is your content on your website aligned to the keywords that you want to rank for? And I would even suggest that in all of this, you should have keyword research done for your own local area, because there are local nuances to how people keyword search for dentists. And then, are there technical SEO issues that are causing you not to rank well? Do you have broken links? Are your images missing alt text? Have the SEO elements been implemented properly? These are all things that a good audit can uncover. And then, do you have an editorial calendar and a plan? What content are you going to be creating each and every month in order to help you rank well? And then, who's responsible for the plan and for implementing it? And then, who's responsible for the return on investment, right? Who's going to track it and who's ultimately responsible? Who are you going to point to and say, hey, our SEO, because of the data you've provided, our SEO is not working very well. What can we do to improve it? And then competitive analysis and benchmarking. You should always be comparing your site and your SEO to the competitors, because you do not live in a bubble, and your prospective patients are going to be looking at your competitors as well. Now let's look at ads. What should we be auditing there? We should be doing an advertising audit. We should be whatever platforms you currently advertise on. If you advertise on Google Ads, for sure, you should look at that. Facebook and Instagram, for sure. TikTok or other ad platforms, absolutely. Even traditional advertising. And there's things, we didn't talk about this in the metrics section, but if you're doing traditional advertising, there's often ways that you can do metrics you can do to track it. There's tracking mechanisms, there's tracking phone numbers, there's QR codes, there's unique URLs, there's special keywords that if somebody phones you and say, hey, I saw your postcard and it says to let you know that the code word is special December or something like that, right? So there's ways to track it. And then ultimately, have you defined your KPIs, your key performance indicators, the key metrics that you'll use to measure ads? Who's responsible for the return on investment of your ads? And then competitive analysis and benchmarking. And then social media. What are you currently doing from a social media involvement standpoint? Are you guys being consistent right now? What is your social media audience? Have you measured it? What's your social media activity? What's your social media engagement? What's working? What's not? Which posts are getting the most engagement? Which ones aren't? Are you doing a mix of authentic posts, meaning your team is posting, they might be doing a dance, they might be out to dinner, they might be celebrating somebody's anniversary, whatever. And then are you doing strategic posts about the actual services you provide, the treatments you provide, how you help people before and afters of their teeth, all of that kind of stuff. Those are strategic. And then which key performance indicators, which metrics are you using to measure the success of your social media? Have you defined them? Who's responsible for tracking them? And who's responsible for the return on investment? Competitive analysis and benchmarking is important here as well. You'll see that in almost every column. Reputation management. What's your overall review rankings everywhere? We talked about that in the prior slide. What's your review velocity? What's your review request process so that you can actually improve upon that? Is there stumbling blocks in that your patients are finding where it's not as smooth as it could be? We want to make it super easy and super fast for people to be great patients leaving great reviews. Review response process. Does your team or does your agency have a process for responding to reviews? What about if it's a bad review? What's the process for that to get you and your team involved to provide input into how to respond to maybe a negative review? Monitoring. Is there a monitoring process in place? And if so, who's monitoring? And then key performance indicators. What are your key performance indicators? Do you have a review velocity you want to make sure that you're attaining to? Do you have a bench or a threshold of reviews Say you're at 600 now and you want to reach 900 by the end of the year. Do you have that defined? And who's responsible ultimately for the return on investment? And then competitive analysis is so important, especially in social media, because you want to be able to compare how many posts you guys are doing versus your competition, what your followers are compared to your competition, and then engagement rates. And are you gaining traction or are you losing traction? Do not do social media activity just for the purpose of activity or because you think you have to be there. Directory citations and Google Business Profiles. We talked about some of this. Google Business Profile, do an audit. There's ways of doing an audit where you make sure, and even now, Google Business Profiles, when you go in to edit it, it will actually show you if your profile, like the core part of your profile, if it's optimized or if you've filled in all the areas. It doesn't tell you how optimized it is really, because there's lots of things you should be looking at. Have you claimed your profile? Have you chosen, first of all, your primary category, the best for your practice? And then there's a whole bunch of secondary categories that you absolutely should be choosing. And this is one of the lowest hanging fruits I think a lot of practices miss, is you absolutely have to be gathering all the categories that are relevant to your practice. Service and product optimization. You have to be building out the services section and the product section within Google Business Profiles. Are you uploading photos regularly? Are you answering questions? You can even seed the question and answer area of Google Business Profiles with your own questions and your own answers. So you should be doing that because people look for those. And then are you tracking the local ranking maps? And these are, again, this is a report that really only agencies have access to, that shows you a map and all of the little pinpoints as it spreads out from your location. And then do you have NAP errors? NAP is name, address, phone number. A lot of times, especially with practices that have moved or maybe changed some information, if the name, address, and phone number are different on any directories, this actually throws up a red flag to Google. It wants to know that your business is consistent, that you're legitimate, that all the information is correct. So you don't want to send bad signals. And this is one of those ones that is very easy to fix, but is often overlooked. And then you want to do competitive analysis and benchmarking. Email and SMS. What's your current email and SMS marketing review? You want to look at them and see how they're performing today and benchmark them. Are you consistently sending emails? Not oversending, but always putting value in them. Do you have a monthly email newsletter? It's amazing that this is often overlooked, but I can't tell you the number of times I see where we send out an e-newsletter on behalf of a dentist and we immediately see people booking appointments. It's because you become top of mind immediately. And not everybody's going to book an appointment, but for the ones that do, you've just motivated them. And how fantastic is that? Are you doing post-treatment emails and SMS texts, following up with your patients, making sure they're okay, but also sending treatment follow-ups? Like, if you experience this pain, it's okay, but if it's still there after a day, call us, right? Those kind of things. Because people in your practice, once they have a treatment, you might cover all of this, but I'll tell you, as a common patient, you forget everything because you're in a different environment and you're feeling pain or numb or whatever it may be. And so these follow-ups are very helpful for making sure that your patients understand what's going on and what to do. Birthday emails seem silly, but man, you got to send out birthday emails or send some in the mail too. This is handwritten notes in the mail. Wishing people a happy birthday is very powerful. So are you doing it? And then what are your key performance indicators? Have you defined them, and who's responsible for the return on investment? And then ongoing measurement and optimization. And then I have this other column, again, for doing an audit. Do you have a patient referral program? Do you have a professional referral program where you try to gather strategic partners that might not be direct competitors, but might be able to feed you patients? Do you do local sponsorships, direct mail, local awards programs? In fact, on direct mail, we're going to cover that in our next webinar the following month. So be there for that. Local awards programs. How powerful is it to say that we are the reader's choice dentist in the area, right? We've won it 7 years in a row. It may not seem like much, but it helps give social proof that you guys do what you say you're going to do and your patients love you. But it takes effort. And what are your key performance indicators? Have you defined them? Who's responsible? Ongoing measurement and optimization. A little bit redundant there, but it's so important. And as you can see, all of this is really pretty daunting for people. And that's why I recommend a third-party audit from a marketing consultant, because not only do they have the tools, the expertise, the resources in order to do these in a timely fashion, like you don't want it to take a long time, but then to be able to come back to you, present the findings, but more importantly than that is to pull out the insights to share with you so you can make decisions. And then the recommendations are the gold in that. So marketing audit is so important. So during audits that we do, we see a lot of mistakes that dentists are making in their marketing. But there's common ones. One of the major mistakes is a lack of a clear strategy. If you don't have a marketing plan, how are you going to make sure that all your marketing is moving you in the right direction to your goals? You can't. You're going to have this. I don't know if you remember, but there used to be these variety shows where people would spin plates on them. I don't know if you can picture that, but then they'd have to run back and forth, keeping those plates spinning in the air, or they'd crash to the ground. Or another metaphor is an engine. If all of the pistons and gears and elements aren't working cohesively together, you're not going to be able to drive to your destination of reaching your goals. So all of these things play a really big part. So a lack of clear, consistent marketing strategy, huge in my books. And it's probably the biggest overlooked element in most dental marketing today. An outdated or poorly maintained online presence or website, another big one. We come across a lot of websites where it's broken. There's broken things on it, or it just presents so poorly, especially when you compare it to the competition in your area. Imagine this. A dentist invests in a website 15 years ago. I've seen this. 15 years ago, a consumer is looking for a new dentist. They land on that. They do a Google search. Those people come up, as do some competitors. They look at the website, then they look at the competitive websites. And man, like, can't remember what number I said, 15 years, a 15-year-old website, a 10-year-old website, even a 5-year-old website looks archaic today compared to the competition. And if you say on your website that we have the latest technology in our practice, we care for our patients, but you don't care about your own brand, you don't care how you present to the marketplace, and worst of all, from a technology standpoint, you're really old, that sends a really bad message. So make sure you have an updated website. Inconsistent branding across different platforms. See this all the time. You need to make sure you're consistently branding your business, your practice across every platform, and not just branding as in a logo, but the messaging that you say, the core message, which is unique to your practice. Not targeting the right audience. Again, we talked about audience targeting. You want to make sure you define it really so that you're not competing against every other practice. You know who your ideal patients are. You've targeted them. You know how to talk to those people specifically, and you're going to attract more of them. Neglecting mobile optimization. Statistically, more people are searching on their mobile devices than ever before. You want to make sure your website and all of your marketing is mobile optimized. And failing to engage with patients on social media, you need to make sure that, hey, if you're posting, you're also going to be engaging with them. It's a social media. It's not a posting media. You need to be social with people. You need to engage with them and talk with them. If they have questions, answer them. If they like something, thank them. Overlooking the importance of patient reviews and testimonials. Again, we talked about this. Huge factor, huge ranking factor, huge social proof factor. You need to be looking at this, but that's a huge mistake. And then lastly, or second last, ineffective use of advertising budgets. When I share the case study, you'll see what I mean by this, but this happens all the time. Some people think, especially if it's an internal person in your dental practice doing your online ads, if they're not super experienced, they might think it's a set it and forget it type thing. Hey, we're just going to leave our budget here. You're happy with the results. You're happy with the budget, but it's not like that. You absolutely have to be looking at your ads every single week, every single month, and making sure that you're leveraging those, that you're optimizing everything within your ads, your campaigns, so that you get the most ROI out of them. And then lastly, this is a huge thing that I see all the time. And it's not just with dentists, it's with every business I've ever worked with, is chasing the latest shiny marketing object. Whether it's TikTok, whatever it is, make sure that your eyes never lose focus on what your goals are and who your ideal patients are, and stay in your lane. If you have excess marketing budget that you want to put towards something, fantastic. Do it as a pilot project. If you want to test out TikTok ads, fantastic. Do it as a pilot project. Do not put all your eggs in that basket, because that's not what your proven marketing strategies are showing you. Some best practices to remember. Let's look at these best practices for effective digital marketing. First, develop a clear and comprehensive marketing strategy that outlines your goals, your target audience, and your tactics. Optimize your online presence by ensuring your website is user-friendly, mobile responsive, and regularly updated. Consistent branding across all your channels will help you build trust and recognition, and use targeted advertising to reach the right audience. And don't forget to engage with your patients through social media, email marketing. Implementing these best practices will help you attract and retain the right patients. And never stop marketing. You always need to be improving, looking at your data, and moving ahead. Remember, your practice does not live in a bubble. You need to make sure that you're competitive. So some tools and resources that I recommend, because we use these, and man, because tools are a big investment for us, because we have a lot of tools, we need to make sure we're using the best tools. So some tools that we love: SEMrush, Search Atlas. These are great SEO optimization and monitoring tools. Bright Local is a great local SEO tool. Google Business Profile Insights, free. You already have access as long as you have a Google Business Profile. Google Search Console. This is the back-end view of how Google views your website. You want to make sure, and your search ranking, so you want to make sure that you access that. Google Analytics, if you haven't put that on your website, it is by far the go-to system to track your website health. And those are free as well. SEMrush and Search Atlas and Bright Local are paid, but those other Google properties are free. Google Ads Editor is a free tool that Google Ads has, so that you can do a lot deeper editing, analysis, stuff like that for Google Ads. Again, if you're not a pro at it, you probably don't want to mess with it. AdZumo is a tool that we like that just helps with reporting and optimizations. It's a paid for tool. Engagement Engine for CRM. This is our CRM, multi-channel marketing and automation system that we put on a lot of our dental clients' systems, so that we can do the things that we need to do to help you market your practice better. And your team can also access it if it makes sense. Oftentimes we try to do some sort of integration with your practice management software, or it can be a totally standalone piece that's just focused on the marketing elements that your practice management software cannot do. Social Pilot, great social media posting tool, scheduling tool, creation tool. And you might be surprised by this one, but Canva. I love Canva. I was actually, back in the day, I was trained as a graphic designer. I'm trained in Photoshop, Illustrator, all the tools. And I actually love Canva because of speed of development. Super easy to use, speed of development. The tool keeps getting better. Fantastic. And of course, we still keep using Photoshop and Illustrator because they're so powerful. So those are a few tools that might help you if you do this in-house. Now, I want to share a dental marketing case study, because this might be very eye-opening for you. So this dental clinic was already investing a fairly healthy budget towards their marketing efforts, and they were driven to be the top dentist in their area. The owner and primary dentist had a good strategic mindset, was investing in marketing, learning a lot. However, they had taken a multi-vendor marketing approach, which created a really poor reporting environment. And it also meant that they, as the layperson, the dentist, was overseeing all of these different marketing vendors. There were big gaps, there were big problems, and there was a lack of cohesive strategy between all of these players. And as you can see, immediate fixes, savings, and growth, we uncovered over a $10,000 ad loss because the previous company was actually had broken ads that were going to broken pages. So every month the dentist was paying a whole bunch of money that was going nowhere. Unfortunately, the ads were being presented. People would click on them. It would go to a broken page. We saw immediate Google ads, new patient leads coming in once we optimized it, fixed those problems, but then also improved the ads. Ads are a great way to turn up the dial very fast, whereas SEO takes time usually. But SEO gives way more fruit and way more return on investment than any ads can. So we also fixed SEO issues, resulting in an incredible jump in their organic traffic, thousands of percentage increase year over year. Consistent email marketing and reactivations brought more patients back and created jumps in their appointments that they were super happy with. And then we integrated the marketing created across everything. And this created greater results, more new patients, and revenue increases because it created a marketing system, not separate marketing activities. So what was the result? The result was, not the result. What did we do? What were the activities we did? Because the activities actually played a part in the results. So I wanted to share these. So we did 36 blog posts in that year. We did 360 social posts. We helped generate 366 new online reviews that year. We did 46 email blasts. We tracked 4,657 phone calls through the tracking systems that we do for the marketing efforts. This doesn't include the main number of the dentists. So these are all marketing activities. And then 207 form completions. So awesome results. And you can see this lady going, wow, because what the actual results were was we saw 136 times new patient return on investment. And we also saw a 29 times revenue return on investment because we are tracking all of these things against their marketing investment. So to wrap up, let's recap the key points we've covered today. We discussed the importance of effective marketing. We talked about the signs that your marketing might be failing. We talked about key metrics to track and why they're important. We talked about best practices for improvement. And now your next steps are to conduct a thorough marketing audit. Implement the best practices we discussed and regularly monitor your performance. Remember, we are here to help you and to support you every single step of the way. If you need help, reach out to us. But the key here is start on the path to achieving your goals today. And I know this is a lot to understand. We went pretty deep into some of these areas, but the reason I did that is I wanted you to get an understanding of how complex some of this goes, and that if you're not looking at it, it's actually a detriment to your growth. It takes a lot of training and experience to do it well. And for most dentists, they'll never do this. Even if they have an internal team, they just don't have the expertise, tools, and resources and time to do this. And that's where we at Dental Marketing Heroes come in. We are your dental marketing team, your partners in marketing, and we've become well known for our expertise in the SEO world. We're a National Excellence Award winning agency twice now. We won it again this year. And for the past 5 years, we've been named a top SEO agency and a top web design agency. And we're an SEO for Growth certified consultant. And we're strategy first, master duct tape marketing consultants. I'm also a co-host on a weekly small business podcast called Marketing Guides for Small Business. Please watch it. Please listen to it. It's on every podcast platform available. It is fantastic. And I do that with some really great marketers. And those really great marketers and I also wrote a book called Content Marketing for Local Search, Creating Content That Google Loves and Prospects Devour. And that became an Amazon bestseller. So check it out on Amazon or connect with me and get your free copy. So all that is to say that me and my team are extremely good at what we do, and we are passionate about it. And we find that when we implement our comprehensive marketing engine into practices, we consistently achieve a greater than 5 times return on investment for you. I never like to throw out stats like this that are overarching because it creates unrealistic expectations, but I am confident with this because we've been able to blow this number away on so many accounts. So if you're interested in learning more, please schedule a free marketing consultation with me. And just because I love giving out free resources. I like equipping dentists to do better in their marketing. First of all, you can scan this QR code or go to that link to schedule a free discovery call with me. I'd be happy to do that. And then if you scan the right-hand code, you get a free SEO scan and report for your dental practice, which is fantastic. Now, our next webinar in this series is a good one, and we're going to be covering the topic of direct mail ideas for dentists. It's not dead, it's just different, which will be on the first Friday of next month at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. But you can also sign up and get the recording if you go through that process. This webinar is designed to help dentists harness the power of direct mail as a vital component of their strategic marketing mix. This session will cover the importance of direct mail, effective campaign strategies, and how to track and measure, which is so important, the success of using tools like QR codes, phone tracking numbers, etc. You'll learn how to integrate direct mail with your digital marketing efforts to create a cohesive, multi-layered approach that drives patient engagement and practice growth. So sign up today on our website. You can also get access to all past webinars on our website under the resources webinar section. So until next week, thank you for joining us. Keep calm and market on, folks. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Dental Marketing Heroes podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or any other major podcast service. If you have a burning marketing question, let us know so we can explore it on this podcast. And until next week, keep calm and market on.